Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning. Good early morning, Aurora. The time is 7:54 a.m., and it is the 5th of November. You are listening to Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. So we've got a great show. We have with us today Mr. John Laesch. Laesch? I did it right the first time. Oh, snap. Good morning, brother. And we have Hunter in the building, too. Hunter, what up, dog? All right. So, news and the weather for you guys. Let's start with the weather. The current temperature is about 55 degrees. The high today will be 70 degrees, and that'll be around 2 p.m. Yesterday was nice and windy and blowy and a good warm day. The next round and final round of the change initiative sessions is this evening, the 5th, at Society 57, 100 South River Street. The session begins at 6 o'clock p.m. with the mayor, Police Chief Kristen Zeman, and or Deputy Chief Keith Cross and other city officials. The sessions starting on October 15th to date have been conducted with full Spanish translations, and they are on the city's website. For more information, you can go to www.auroratech.il.org/change. Attack is a dash. All right. There's another senior meal distribution event taking place Monday the 9th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This will be at the Aurora Police Department. Kane County residents 60 years of age or older are eligible to enroll in that. All right. Aurora Downtown's annual Cocoa Crawl will be without the crawl this year due to COVID-19. Instead, 2020 Cocoa Crawl mugs will be sold starting this Friday, along with hot cocoa recipe cards and more at select downtown businesses. Visit auroradowntown.org. Now, a place you can get a mug and a place that's doing some really cool stuff on First Friday, which is tomorrow, is the Cottonseed Creative Exchange located at 8 North Broadway in downtown Aurora. Great place. Shout out to Yvonne. She's a Navy vet, too. Cottonseed and Beazle Arts are coming together to present live music, raffles, and refreshment from 5 to 9 p.m. There will be a lot of fun. This is going to be a lot of fun, and you can also see the photographical exhibit on display featuring photographers such as Gary Bonnick, Victoria Laesch, Ivan Carmona, Amy Nelson Photography, and John Cornelison. Shout out. Dollar holiday photos and curated displays will be offered at a few locations on the 21st, the 28th, and the 5th, the 5th of December. Professional photographers will socially distance and wear masks. Photos are first come and first served. Now, I found out something interesting that I want you all to listen to. Did you know that in 1958, a group called ARTA was founded? It's community service projects, including labor and cash donations to local food pantries. And they have a scholarship program to local high school students planning to become teachers. ARTA is an acronym that stands for Aurora Area Retired Teachers Association. Now, they're holding their second drive-through box dinner sale from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Tuesday, the 1st of December at Gaslight Manor, 2485 Church Road in Aurora. Entree options are Greek chicken, roast pork, and fettuccine alfredo. Side dishes are roasted potatoes, green beans, and dessert. The public is invited. The cost is $20. Reservations are required. Now, we'll post this with the numbers and the address to send checks or money orders. Proceeds benefit a Coats for Kids drive by Aurora Communities and Schools, CIS, and Artist Scholarship Fund. CIS provides free after-school and summer programs and counseling access to help Aurora students achieve in school and life. Very cool. Aurora Interfaith Food Pantry is hosting a Veterans Pantry on the 11th of November. The food pantry has 7 pieces of plywood that have been primed, and they would like patriotic images painted on them. These will then be displayed throughout the drive-through distribution on that particular day. Now, they will supply the paint needed. You can contact Becky Dunnigan. Her email is rdunnigan@aurorafoodpantry.org. Dunnigan has 2 N's. Well, 3. But it's Dunnigan, not Dunigan. She's the Community Outreach and Program Director. Shout out to the Aurora Food Pantry. And now, last but not least, this First Friday is going to be mostly virtual and crowd-free. Small events like the Cottonseed Exchange are going to be extremely rare. Look for Sugar Skull City artwork and more. Broadway will display ofrendas or altars outside of their businesses. For more information on that, you can reach out to Aurora Downtown on Facebook or auroradowntown.org. And that is the news. And now, we get into our interview with Mr. Laesch. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on to the show, my man.
Very excited.
So, I've seen your face on many a placard and many a this and that all over the internet. Laesch for mayor and running for that. So, good to sit down with you in person.
Thanks.
Starting off, where are you from and where were you born and raised?
Okay, so I live on the east side,
Okay.
710 4th Street. It's public information in my voting file and on my ballot
Okay.
access signatures petition.
All right.
I'm originally from West Africa. I was born and raised in Monrovia, Liberia.
Okay.
My folks were missionaries over there. They moved to the United States in 1986. There was a military coup happening.
Right.
And we lived 3 doors down from the vice president and
Oh,
watched
wow.
as they opened up fire on that house with M16, drugged the family out, and my parents thought it was a good time for us to leave.
Right.
So, very fascinating story, but we ended up here in Illinois eventually, and Lutheran Bible Translators was here in Aurora, right next to the Aurora Pancake House, and my folks live on a farm in Newark, but
Okay.
I made Aurora my home in 2008. We moved around a lot as kids, and I think I was in my early 30s. I had lived in 24 places.
Wow.
And so when I moved into the Aurora house, I put down roots officially. I planted a big bur oak tree in my front yard, and I'm staying here.
Good. Good, man. That's good.
That's my
good.
story. That's how I got here.
Wow, 24 different places before the age of 30, you said?
30s.
30s?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's a lot of...
Yeah, I was also in the Middle East. I served as a naval intelligence analyst and lived in Bahrain.
All right.
For 3 years of my life.
That's the 5th Fleet over there, right?
It is.
Yeah, that's right.
Were you in the military?
Yeah, Navy.
Okay.
I was a bosun mate.
Okay.
Very cool, very cool. What's Bahrain like?
Hot and humid. 125 degree heat index on some days. It's a littoral region in the Persian Gulf, just
Right.
a small little island. So,
Right. Now, what's your educational background?
so graduated from Newark High School. Like many poor kids, tried going to college at Wabanzi Community College and was working full time, struggling.
Newark is in Illinois?
Newark High School, yep. Yeah, a little Norwegian town on 71 used to have a sign, 580 people. I think they're about 1,700 now.
I totally thought you were talking about New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, no, Newark.
Oh, my God. Damn, I got to...
You know what?
Okay.
Kringla. If you've never had Kringla, it's very Norwegian culture out there. You can buy Kringla in the gas station, a little sugary biscuit thing. It's good.
Okay, all right. Man, learning. Hunter, you know about it?
Yeah, my family gets them every year for Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, good morning, Aurora. All the knowledge you need this early. Very cool. But continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so...
Graduated from Newark.
Yeah,
Graduated
Newark.
from Newark, yeah.
Then I was trying to get through. I went to Knox College for a couple semesters and couldn't afford it. Moved back home, trying to pay my way through Wabanzi, and eventually decided to join the military. A friend of mine had said, we could become Navy SEALs. I thought that was a great idea.
Right.
So I did. I joined. I got to serve over in the Middle East for 3 years of my life. And then that was what gave me the GI Bill. I was able to finish college at Illinois State University.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Growing up, what impact did your mom have in your life?
My mother did not have a high school diploma. And so she met my father, and they, he's like, I'm going to be a missionary. I'm sure that had to be...
Yeah, right? What a first date conversation.
Move over to the jungle, live in the jungle,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. Look,
but
I know we're in Naperville, but think about it. Liberia,
yeah, right. Yeah, so, but incredibly smart woman. She taught us, homeschooled us kids, and it was kind of learn at your own pace. And at the same time, she was setting up a clinic in the middle of the jungle. We lived in Chetapal land, and like 300 miles inland off the coast of Liberia.
Right.
And so, she taught herself medicine. So here's somebody who had no high school diploma or college degree, but was able to read through books and set up a clinic, and then she was mailing back to the United States for people to send in antibiotics and medications.
Right.
But very fascinating person. When they moved to Newark, she started a goat farm, and taught herself genetics.
Really?
So,
oh my God. Your mom's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool person.
Very cool.
And now has this they have a little 7-acre organic farm out there with a few animals, goats.
Mm-hmm. So, I'll ask you this question now then. As a person who's spent time overseas, would you agree that despite most things in America, troubles, what have you, Americans actually have it really good in regards to, quality of life?
Sure. I guess that depends on where you're at. I think the Europeans might have a slightly better quality of life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Danes are certainly looking at us like you don't even got healthcare?
What is going on over there? You don't have national health care, right? Exactly.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Richest nation in the world.
Yeah. I've not been to Europe, so I gotta go.
Where did you travel to while you were in Boatswain's Mate?
We went to mostly South American countries. So I was stationed in California, so we did the drug ops, which we call South Packs. So Southern Pacific. So you go through the Panama Canal, and then we hit ports, Guatemala, Ecuador, Cuba, Jamaica.
Still cool places.
Oh man, yeah. Oh hell yeah.
You gotta absorb a little culture along the way.
I grew up in Harvey, Illinois. How the hell else was I gonna get to Panama, for heaven's sakes? Panama's the best place I ever went to. It was so cool.
And how many years were you in?
I was just shy of 5 years. Just shy of 5 years, yeah. It was a really great experience.
Cool.
Yeah. So like 4 years, 8 months. It was a really good experience.
Mine too. I look back. I wanted out. I wanted to get out as fast as I could and get into college. But it's something I look back at and say, well, what a cool experience I would have had anyway.
Oh yeah. It taught me a lot. It was I was a fairly squared away individual before joining the military, but the military definitely, the Navy put the final screws in me, like getting it together and learning stuff. But yeah, it was really good. I saw a lot of poor places too.
Sure.
Like I saw like real poverty.
True.
I'd seen poverty before, growing up, but like I saw like actual abject poverty. Like the same river with which these people get water from is also where they're washing their clothes.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how it was in GCAN. Mm-hmm.
It was like it was extremely humbling.
Yeah.
But then went to a couple places in the States, but went to Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii for a little bit. That was cool.
That would have been a good duty station, I would think.
Yeah, it was cool. It got boring after a while because you can only go so far in any direction. That's an island, so that was kind of pretty expensive, but the food was great, like everywhere. It was really cool. It was all right. Volcanoes are like, the college is around a volcano. I can't think of what college it was, but yes, you're hanging out and you're like, oh, a volcano. It was really cool.
Why did I go to Illinois State? I could have gone to somewhere in Hawaii.
Yeah. So, what is your opinion of the city of Aurora? You planted a tree. I remember you saying that, so you've got roots here. Compared to other places you've been to, what's unique about Aurora?
I felt at home here. I like it. I think I was looking for a diverse city to live in. I love the river. I love running along the Fox River. I think that what I see in Aurora is opportunity. I think we've got an incredible opportunity here to hit the national stage and do some exciting things. I mean, we haven't really got there yet, but one of the big reasons I'm running is I want to see us become the green building capital of the United States.
Okay.
And I think we've got all the ingredients. We've got a lot of old historic homes that are just energy wastes. We've got poor people that need better jobs, and we can do that. Create living wage jobs in our city, and make everybody feel like they're part of something that across the United States and the globe, and I guess internationally now, the international biggest threat to our existence is the climate crisis, and I think we could start to turn the screws of change here in Aurora.
What exists in Aurora that could make that a possibility in regards to turning green and the energy?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the one unique thing we have is the river that might be able to produce some hydropower, but mostly I think it's having an idea and a vision and taking us in that direction. Mm-hmm. And as I've been talking to people about this vision door to door, it's kind of like just my little idea of what we can become. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to get real positive reception, and people are starting to say, "You're the green guy." There's another guy in the race who's an attorney, and they always say, are you the attorney? No, I'm a green guy.
Alderman Laesch is also the other candidate.
Correct.
Besides the mayor. And when's the election for people?
April 6th.
April 6th. Okay.
Yeah. And it's been confusing for people as we go door to door. Like, yeah, I've already voted. I said, that's great. But
right.
There's another election that's coming up. It's important. Here's why.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while that the understanding of how elections work and when they are for, the city of Aurora is not well known in the city. A lot of people just believe that voting is a one and done, and you're only voting for a president. They don't know the different layers of the
right.
county government and everything like that. Now, you were in government previously. Is that correct? You were on the school board?
Correct.
All right.
And I've run for other public offices. So we talked a little bit about my military background. Mm-hmm. In 2001, when we were getting ready to go to war in Iraq, I had served as an intelligence analyst in the Middle East, and I knew that Iraq did not have weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
So we had a president telling us something that wasn't true. I know
right.
it's shocking.
Right.
And that Iraq was somehow connected to the tragic events of 9/11.
Right.
And, I actually initially wanted to go back in intelligence work. I went back to talk to some friends that lived on the East Coast that were still in. And they had said, no, it's not bad intelligence. You should get involved politically. So I did. I worked for a presidential candidate in 2004. My brother, younger brother, was in the Army.
Okay.
Got orders to get called up and go to serve in Iraq. And he had asked if I'd move home and run against Denny Hastert.
Okay.
So I had run for Congress.
And Denny Hastert, for those listening, is who?
Denny Hastert at the time was Speaker of the House,
right.
most powerful man up for election in 2006.
Right.
So you had this young 30-year-old Navy veteran running against the most powerful man for Congress, and it was
the Navy guys got balls, boy. Swinging for the fences.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Effort that drew national attention. And it helped me build some name recognition area.
Sure.
and learn the nuts and bolts of getting on the ballot and sort of I call it election mechanics. A lot of people have good ideas, but they don't know how to run, and they purposely make it hard for people to learn how to run for office and to serve.
Is that so?
Well, I say it's purposeful.
I've heard that. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've heard somebody say, yeah.
Yeah, it's
convoluted and twisted. That's a design, not a bug.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have in Illinois we have these winter elections, right? So it's harder for people to get out.
Yeah.
and it's harder for a grassroots candidate like myself because we have to get our word out by knocking on doors and talking to voters and going to events. The people who take money from the rich people who buy access to power at every level of government can just raise a lot of money, send you a bunch of mailers, get their face on TV. But we got to work for it, and it's a lot harder in the wintertime.
What's the experience been like for you? So you've been doing this the whole pandemic time, right? Mm-hmm. You have not, for this election, you have not had the chance to canvass and get out there before COVID.
Not for this election.
Right. Man, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Mm-hmm. So you're doing everything virtual, or is there some interaction with the folks?
No, we're wearing masks.
Right.
We all carry a little spray bottle of Purell hand sanitizer.
Right.
And after somebody signs a petition, we spray it down with a little sanitizer and move to the next house.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't want to be the pandemic spreader. We're taking precautions.
Don't want to be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote for the Rona.
That's right. That's right. People are. I wasn't sure how it would go, but they do open their doors. They'll stay at a distance.
Yeah.
They'll talk to you between the glass. So they're still very engaged. The typical municipal voter is probably your most engaged voter because they are paying attention to what's going on in their city.
I like that. That's very cool. That is very cool. So, now you mentioned the initiatives that you'd like to see in Aurora, but I guess to ask the question, why are you running for mayor?
It's a couple of things that I saw happening.
Okay.
A lot of it was even nationally.
Okay.
This summer, I served on the Democratic National Platform Committee. And this
Okay.
is where a group of people all sit down. We did it virtually. And we talk about what are the important issues and what stands the Democratic Party will have it.
Right.
Presumably, the Republican Party has a similar process.
Right.
I was a delegate for Bernie Sanders on this platform committee. And I had pushed a amendment. And the amendment basically says Democrats believe we will not take fossil fuel subsidies. A little more complicated in the wording, but the U.S. taxpayers give the fossil fuel industry $20 billion every year.
Wow.
Of course, you and I can come up with much better uses for our tax money than bailing out rich people who produce oil and gas and are effectively killing our planet.
Right.
So this amendment was stripped out without my permission, breaking the Democratic Party's rules. Once again, I was sort of in the national media for this. But the whole experience said, wow, if we've got a climate denier as our current president-chief, and somebody who's not willing to take this basic step, and I guess Joe Biden now is, but how are we going to fix this crisis? So I started looking around Aurora, and I've talked about this a lot. We've approached Mayor Tom Weisner back in the day about some green building initiatives. It's never gained traction, just talking to the municipal layer. So that was happening, and I was thinking about what I could do. And then we also had this Black Lives Matter movement that was pushing for significant reforms in City Hall.
Right.
And some of my friends were part of that effort, and they weren't getting anywhere.
Right.
And we had gone through a similar effort in 2018. We pushed something called the One Aurora Ordinance. It basically said we don't want the Aurora Police coordinating with ICE.
Right.
You had mentioned previous government experience. I was on the East Aurora School Board. I had pushed a safe schools measure that said pretty much the same thing. We didn't want ICE in our schools. And I saw this resistance, and I said, I'm doing it. The government here is not working for the people. We can do something better.
Right.
And so I talked to some friends, and not everybody was 100% supportive early on. But I've gotten to know a lot more new people who are very supportive, people I never knew, and they've stepped up. And it's one of the exciting things that I've been grateful about is all these people that I don't know are now jumping on board to embrace this vision that I talked about earlier.
Very cool. Very cool. Besides the renewable energies and besides the green initiatives, what could Aurora also be doing better?
Well, that's a good question. First, let's talk about what we're doing well.
Okay.
I like to give credit where people are doing things well, and I think if you look at downtown, it's coming back to life.
Oh, yeah.
It's struggling during the pandemic, but it's one of the things that I think everybody in the town appreciates. And I think it's something that brings us together, right? Brings the east side and the west side together as our downtown.
Good point. It does. Yes, it does.
So I like to be very positive about what is happening, and I think those are positive things. Can I put in a plug real quick? Because
all day. Go ahead, man.
Hey, it's a great day. We're in a pandemic. A lot of our small businesses are struggling. That means you can go eat on a patio. So choose an Aurora business with a patio.
Right, yeah, holler, yeah. Valley Door, what up?
Yeah, have lunch outside. It's a great day. You should be celebrating a great day in
very
downtown
true.
Aurora.
Very
right?
true. Nice.
So there's a lot of things that I think there's room for improvement on. I had mentioned the idea of living wage jobs, right? We're also second highest in temp agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And temp agencies are these, temporary unemployment places that are known for wage theft, forcing people to, not forcing, but they pay, you have to pay for a ride to get to work, right? So you show up at the temp agency and they give you a ride, and you have to pay your way there, work all day. They don't have basic worker protections, safety in a workplace. And, I think that Aurora should not be the second largest number of temp agencies. And this is something that can be fixed from the city chambers. We don't have to approve all their permits.
I feel you. Here's the thing. I used to work for a staffing agency at one point in time in my life. I was a staffer. But we didn't have a ride program, though. And we, I have to say, I gotta say that I know that there's janky stuff going on in some agencies, but like the one I worked at, it was squared away. It was squared away.
That's good.
Yeah, it was. We were squared away. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to do a show on that. You just brought up something about Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's going on for sure.
Yeah, it's right. So, could we have standards?
Sure. Hell yeah.
Better enforce those standards at the city level.
Yeah, it could be better. You're right.
Yeah, and a lot of it is undocumented workers don't have any worker protections, and I think there's people that are willing to take advantage of those things in the place of employment.
Oh, it happens all the
Yeah.
I work for a very, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but yeah, they're hurt. Yeah, people are, yeah. If you get hurt on the job and you are an undocumented worker, there is no net for you whatsoever.
Correct.
With which to, friends of ours on the show, Sandra Gonzalez and Giselle Gonzalez, brought up, the conditions in places of employment, factory, industrial, places of employment for people who are undocumented. And I've worked at a factory once upon a time in life, and yeah, it's horrible. It is. So I couldn't imagine.
Second-class citizens with no rights.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't be that way.
It should not. Yeah.
So, yeah. Other areas for improvement. I mean, I did mention the green thing. That is definitely going to be my focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's been a lot of focus on the police department.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another plug, right? We saw all the initiatives coming out of the demand letter for police reforms. Mm-hmm. We saw all of those initiatives get shelved. Finally, now I'm in a race and things seem to be moving once again, right? So now the city council is talking about a civilian review board or citizens review board. But now is the time, if people are listening and they want to weigh in on this discussion. We don't know the full how that CRB is going to look, but it should have subpoena power. So this body of citizens that would have oversight over our police, should there be an incident like George Floyd, or here in Aurora, the Marcus Randall case, the Citizens Review Board could look at all the details of the case. They would have subpoena power. They should be able to hire an attorney. They should have a budget, and their decision should be binding with respect to holding that officer accountable.
What's the Marcus Randall case for those who don't know?
So Marcus Randall is a individual who was pulled over in North Aurora and had a background. Mm-hmm. So multiple incidents. The Aurora police knew who he was. Mm-hmm. They showed up at the scene. He was not even the driver of the vehicle. They pulled him out along with the other gentlemen, arrested him for the resisting arrest thing that so many people get called on.
Oh, yeah.
And someone was recording it with a cell phone video. Mm. And during the arrest, that one of our police officers kicked him in the face and broke his eye socket. And that person got a 10-day suspension. But really, if you look at what happened afterwards, this officer, the woman who was recording, came out with her phone, hit her phone to the ground, broke it, and then afterwards, him and 3 other officers went to her residence and demanded that, without a warrant, demanded that she turn over the phone. So, that it's part of the culture, I think, that cover up for each other. And like I said, I don't think Aurora is Kenosha, but there's room for improvement there.
All right. So, being a person, I'm going to give you my thought. Being a person who's been part of an organization, and the Navy is a man's organization, which is, it just is.
Sure.
Okay? It's been integrated, but that's not the discussion that we're having at the moment. It is top to bottom in terms of culture, the thought process. It has for years just been a male organization, like most of the military is. Like the military is. We can understand that, obviously, police are going to cover up for each other, and I mean, it's not an outlandish thought that they would do that. Would you agree?
I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. Not outlandish.
Yeah. It's, yes, they're doing that. Of course, they're going to, one of them who is not a police officer is not going to be looked at in the same light as backing the blue, so of course those kind of things are happening in police departments. I don't want to get you on camera for that. My bad. So that case, and to your point, Aurora is not Kenosha. Aurora has not had that history, but our police department, I feel, can be doing better. I do feel that given the pandemic and the incidents of, I think it was May 31st when it happened here in Aurora. Yeah. I do think that our mayor has governed effectively. Would you agree?
Oh, there's a lot of things. So let's look at how the budget is spent. So let me just say, again, I want to compliment where good things have happened. I talked about downtown, and I do talk about positively about how the police responded to the mass shooting that we had here. I want to say it was the year before. The kid who lost his life, his first day on the job was actually friends with my 2 nephews and lived on my brother's couch over the summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and I think about that. Had the police not responded, how many other families would have been destroyed from a shooter? The Henry Pratt shooting is what I'm talking about.
I know, yeah.
So I think that they did do a good job in that regard. That was the police. but that's responding to a crisis. I think we handled the pandemic a little better than some cities, for sure. Right?
Oh, definitely.
I think that some of the positive things that they've done is block up places for our businesses to have curbside pickup. Should have been done immediately. Say how do we stabilize our businesses and the people that have invested in our community in that way. But anyway, no, I think there's definitely room for improvement from the budget. If you look at how the budget is spent, it's a reflection of who we're giving money to and how we're appropriating it and what our priorities are. And I think what we've seen is a lot of bailouts. So, for example, the $10 million that they spent buying up the property there at Farnsworth, I don't think the taxpayer should have been on the hook for that.
What property?
At the Farnsworth Interchange, there's some hotels and restaurants, right?
By the outlet mall.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The I-88 in Farnsworth.
Yes.
Yeah, interchange
all right.
up there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think that the taxpayer should be on the hook for that. Again, we talked about the $20 billion that we subsidize fossil fuels for.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's room for improvement. But I'm not running against any set of ideas. I'm running largely because I want to see us become a green city, and I see the opportunity there to create good-paying jobs, save the planet, and create a long-term sustainable economy that works for everybody here in the city of Aurora.
What does America mean to you?
Opportunity. And I think that's it. I would put it in one word as opportunity. I wish we could say equality and opportunity, but I don't think we can say that.
No. Right. That's interesting. You were at the Women's March.
I was.
In Oswego.
Nope, in Aurora.
Was it Aurora?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had one here in Aurora. Jen Perkins organized it as part of a National Day of Action, and she organized little events up and down Randall Road.
Okay.
And we signed up to coordinate one here in Aurora.
What was that like?
Well, it's good. I mean, I've been to some bigger women's marches, but because of the pandemic, this was a little bit more spread out, and everything is so different during the pandemic. But it was good to see people out there having their voices heard and risking exposure to the to the coronavirus. So
Right.
yeah, and there was a lot of enthusiastic support from people who were driving by and honking. So yeah, I've been to a lot of protests in my life. It was one of the smaller ones, but that's what you get in a pandemic, I guess. Yeah. But still good to see that people are willing to get out there, mask up, and go out there and hold their sign.
Now, where were you on May 31st?
I was downtown that night. I'll give you my May 31st recap. We had the dog and pony show at the police station, right?
Right.
And then people marched to the outlet mall, and I was out doing some chores, and I want to talk about the highlight of that day to me, as people were marching down Indian Trail.
Right.
It was such a great vibe. You saw people who had taken over their streets, felt empowered. This is our day. Yeah. These are our streets. We're taking it back.
Right.
It was very exciting to be part of it. That was sort of what I would describe as a midday. Later that evening, I'd gone out for a run along the Fox River, along the trail, and people started texting me, and hey, are you okay? Things are blowing up downtown.
Oh, shit.
So I did. I came downtown. By then, the police had their riot gear and had blocked off all the streets. The state police were coming in, and all the police from surrounding areas were showing up. Saw a car blow up. I Facebook Lived it all. It was pretty interesting. Eventually, the police pushed me back. I got to talk to several people that were coming out. It was becoming too much for them. This isn't what they signed up for.
Right.
But I was not in the heart of it, so I didn't get to see it. Where were you?
That day, I lived downtown at that time. But where I lived was I used to live on New York Street. I was away, kind of like by New York and River. So I wasn't near the intersection of like Broadway and Galena, pretty much where everything was happening at. But I worked for a business on LaSalle Street.
Okay.
The owner of the business, we were closed. The owner of the business was like, hey, I hear that things are getting kind of hairy, So I was like, okay. So I had my son with me, and we didn't go down New York towards the hubbub. We went downriver to Benton, and took Benton all the way up, crossed over Broadway, went up to LaSalle Street, and went around everything. There was tear gas going off, we could smell the tear gas and get a little whiff of it, even as far away as we were. But we saw all the stuff going on. And I saw the Elgin Cruiser before it was engulfed in flames.
Okay, it was an Elgin vehicle.
It was an Elgin vehicle, yeah. I took a picture of it.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. And then something told me, I was like, I should get the hell away from this thing. Because it was sitting by itself in that lot, in the lot that's across from where La Quinta is.
Yeah.
It was an Elgin vehicle by itself, alone in that lot, and I got a picture of it.
Why did it blow up?
Well, it didn't blow up actually. A crowd of people broke the windows and threw something in there, which caught the vehicle on fire. That's what happened to it. It didn't blow up. But I was thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna get the hell away from this. It was just sitting there by itself, and something told me, like, what if this vehicle's here, fully mic'd up and audioed up, right, and videoed up, to like see what humans are around. They caught the person who did it. Anyway, So that's where I was, and I got some video footage of that night. It was crazy. It was insane.
Yeah. Okay, so you were kind of like you just came down and check it out and see what was going on, but
Yeah, I went to go see the store. The store got vandalized, but it didn't get looted.
yeah.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate.
It was also nice to see what happened the next day. People coming out and cleaning
That was
up,
beautiful.
and the murals downtown that were painted, I think, captured who we are as a city.
Yeah, it did. I liked that, really. I got a text the next morning like, yo, come on down. Everybody's cleaning up and doing art. I was like, what? Like, okay. And went down there, and sure enough, and I got to take part in a couple murals down there on the bank building at Broadway and Galena.
Okay.
The Nina Simone mural. Shout out to Aurora Public Art. The whole, Josh Schultz, everybody. Everybody was out there doing stuff. Fisk Garcia, Uli. Everybody was out there. We were getting down, getting busy. Chicano, getting busy right there on the corner. It was great. Good stuff.
Yeah, so I did not participate in the cleanup. I'll tell you why. Is when I said Aurora APD is not Kenosha, it's also not Joliet.
No.
The mayor of Joliet, on the night of the 31st, had grabbed this African American gentleman and told him to go the other way. And he was dressed in plain clothes. He's a former police officer with several scars on his record and suspensions. And through this,
the mayor was
a former police officer, right?
Okay.
Anyway, he's down there, and he throws this kid into a whole group of police and just start pounding on him. His brother jumps in, and they just beat these two kids up. So the days after the 31st, I was actually over in Joliet organizing more events demanding that their mayor resign. Right?
Yeah. Who's the mayor of Joliet?
Odekirk is his name.
Odekirk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I've been a community activist and organizer throughout the Fox Valley, but I know a lot of people in Joliet.
Nice.
So I jumped in over there instead of worrying about our own town.
Right. Well, no, that's an egregious case. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Saw a lot of ugliness in America, recently and this year.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. What I like about Aurora is the diversity. It's got a strong culture is represented in Aurora. Aurora's a big town, second largest city in Illinois, although it doesn't feel like that sometimes. But you mentioned when we started talking, bringing Aurora to a national perspective. Talk a little more about that. What do you mean?
So I say I want us to become the greenest city, right? So we're already behind because Burlington, Vermont is 100% renewable power. Okay, so first off, if Burlington, Vermont can do it, so can we.
Right. Yeah.
And again, it comes back to how are we going to appropriate our resources. So what I'm saying is if we create a Department of Sustainability, and here's how we do it, because we have the Department of Neighborhood Standards.
Right.
It's roughly 70-some people that drive around the city and make sure that your grass is not too high. Make sure that you put your garbage cans away after garbage collection.
Right.
Make sure your fence isn't sagging. Looking for all these infractions. They write small tickets, right? So it's a very proactive department. Doesn't need to be proactive. It can be reactive. If your neighbor's grass is high, you can call them and they'll come out and do their thing. So we're going to downsize the Department of Neighborhood Standards. We're going to create a Department of Sustainability.
Okay.
These people are going to come on call and diagnose your house, look for ways to help you find incentives, financial incentives from ComEd, from NICOR, from our utilities, from the state. Hopefully we have a new president and from the federal government. So in the past there's been a lot of federal incentives there.
Right.
To make your house more energy efficient. And we're going to throw on top of that property tax incentives for you to go in that direction. So we talked about the $10 million and how we can better use that money. We're going to invest it in people's homes. And what this is going to do is create a lot of new jobs, light construction jobs that can't be offshored and outsourced.
Okay.
There's going to be some light manufacturing jobs for window companies, door companies that we want to see open up their doors here in Aurora and be successful and create a market for those people.
I like that.
And there's some things we can do with the river, like I talked about, some low impact water turbines that generate free power year round. So pump that into our public buildings, the downtown area, have clean, affordable power. Just a few ideas. I mean, I could go into it. I've been told don't get in the weeds, don't go all geek on there. So I am a geek. I'm a.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. We're all kind of geeky around here.
I've got this. I bought this house. I say the house found me. I didn't find the house.
Right.
It's a 116-year-old house, and it needed a lot of improvements, and so I've made it about 80% more energy efficient than what it was when I bought it.
Okay.
And it's cool, and I love trying new techniques, something I saw on YouTube. I got my certification from the Building Performance Institute, and I just think there's so much room for improvement for everybody. A lot of houses in Aurora that could be saving a lot of energy.
How will you address homelessness in Aurora?
Good question. I'm going to back just a little bit. I think one of the things that's missing that we could do better is try and bring more of the people who live in Aurora's ideas to life. I met a fascinating young woman while I was on the campaign who comes to me and she's got this huge binder. She's thought it all through. And it's a great idea. One of the problems with the pandemic is that Hesed House, everybody's congested. It's a little hot spot for COVID.
Right.
She said, why don't we build tiny homes? And I was thinking, well, that fits perfectly into what I'm already talking about.
It does.
Right? We can build these little tiny homes so people are living independently. We don't know what the economic impact of this pandemic recession is going to be like. But let's assume things go bad like they were in 2008, 2009, where families were losing their houses and needed a place to stay, and there was a lot of families down at Hesed.
Right.
We need to, if we could give those people build little tiny homes, you can do it not just in a for-profit way, but through a nonprofit that invites people to come and volunteer and help us make them energy efficient, because that's what I'm about.
Right.
And I think even you find a way to give those people a chance to own a house. Right, so it's like a pay to own, because I think there's a little more dignity in owning something, and
Sure.
I think that it might be part of the mental healing that goes along with whatever has happened to that person that's put them out on the streets.
I agree.
So
I agree.
So I hope that's not too in the weeds. I don't have her binder in front of me, but the idea was very appealing to me. As something we could be doing, and quite frankly, we should be using the CARES money to do it.
What does City Hall look like under a Laesch administration?
I've been saying day one, so the night we swear in, I'd like on the agenda something that says that I'm going to take 25% pay cut. Current city council just gave the mayor a pay raise. I don't think it's not just during a pandemic. I think that we have a city manager. I think there's a job of public service, and I don't need an excessive amount of money to do this. I want to change the culture so everybody who works for the city knows they work for the taxpayers,
Right.
and so that we're all public servants. Let's just look at the first 6 months. I think we have a big community-wide agenda-setting idea. I'm laying out my ideas for our city on the campaign trail. If I win, that means that people embrace that larger goal that we have. But that doesn't mean I have all the answers to all the problems, and that because I'm passionate about this little corner, there's other places and things people want. And I've been listening as I've been campaigning door to door. But we have a citywide agenda-setting meeting. So it's all the elected officials are invited. We'll make it a city meeting, so Open Meetings Act, all the aldermen,
Sure.
alderwomen will be there. And we lay out our agenda. When I was on the school board, this would have been one of the best first moves for us to all be on the same page. And then what you do from there is you align your budget to meet those goals and agendas that belong to the community. So it's a government for the people. And they've all had a voice in it, not just through the electoral process, but a voice for that their voice was actually at the table when we were setting that agenda for our city.
The time is now 8:46 a.m. and you're listening to Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast, and we're joined by Mr. John Laesch.
Yeah.
Is that it right?
Yep.
All right,
that's
good.
It's German. People ask me all the time how to pronounce it. The Americanized version is just Laesch, but Laesch is the correct German
Laesch, right, yeah.
pronunciation.
Yep. I always try to get people's names right. There's not. I hate getting people's names right.
There's nothing worse than going up to a door, big long last name, you can't pronounce it. Is Joe home?
Oh my God.
And my parents were linguists.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
What was it? So your parents were missionaries now,
Right.
so they went to different countries, or were all their activities in Liberia?
All in Liberia.
Okay.
My father was translating the Bible into the Grebo language.
Okay.
That was his project.
All right. Gotcha. Wow. What's your earliest memories?
Well, probably playing with all the kids and played marbles, made our own toys out of bamboo. We went fishing every day. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yep. Take a machete, go in the jungle, dig up some worms and go fishing.
Really?
Yeah. It was a great childhood. You mentioned that we see poverty, but I don't look at it that way. I mean, now that you live in America,
sure,
you can look back at it and say, sure, but
yes.
No, it's a lot of freedom to run around.
And you know what? Thank you for correcting me on that statement, because that's not what I was insinuating at all. So for the listeners too, I wasn't. You're right.
Yeah.
You are right. I was looking at it from just the American view, but yeah.
Sure.
I've never been to Liberia. I'd like to go. It looks beautiful from what I see.
Yeah.
It looks like a beautiful place. But that was that trouble during that was the Charles Taylor years, correct?
Charles Taylor
Incident.
took over shortly after we left.
Okay. All right. Okay. I got you.
And back in 2005, when I was looking at running, my dad had said, hey, Liberia is having their elections, and you could volunteer through the church and go be an election monitor. Mm-hmm. So I weighed briefly, run against Denny Hastert or go to Liberia and see that they have free and fair elections. Ellen Johnson won. They had the first female president.
Oh, wow.
They didn't need me.
I need to hang out with you more often. Liberia or
That's right.
Nice. So, let me see here. What's next? What's upcoming?
On the campaign, so we file our petitions in November.
Okay.
A campaign life is the best part of it is meeting people.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of events right now, so it's a lot of door to door.
Okay.
And getting to know people, and then I try and if somebody wants to get to know me better, I'll go have coffee at one of in Diro or Treadwell and somewhere.
Right.
Or take a walk along the river and stay 6 feet apart.
Tell me how you doing over there.
Yes. Yeah, it's so strange. But there hasn't been a lot of events, but we file our petitions in mid-November.
Okay.
We'll find out who all is running and who all files. There's other offices that are happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to push patronizing Aurora businesses right now that are struggling during the pandemic. So many people have made an investment in our city, and we want to make sure that they are successful. So,
something I like about you, that's different about you, and going back to our conversation that we had initially on the phone, and even up to today, that you just talk about what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You don't diss. Mm-hmm. I like that. You just talk about what you want to do. Even our conversation on the phone, you never say, could be better, could be. Nah, you just talk about what you want to do.
Yeah. I try to differentiate too. So I'll, throughout the campaign, I'm going to try and stay positive. I've said that. I think I want to sell my ideas to the public and lead. I think there's, in politics, there's this idea that we meet people where they're at, or do we lead people where they need to be? And I'm one of those people who says I'm gonna lead where we need to be. This is where we need to go. We've got a crisis. We've got to do something. and it's just an incredible opportunity for our city. So that's what this campaign is about, is selling a new vision for Aurora. If you look at it, we were a manufacturing town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were talking about this building was some sort of manufacturing industry.
Yeah.
All right, and NAFTA
Dead bodies and shoes and shit.
So that's gone away. NAFTA allowed companies to move overseas, make more money for Wall Street.
Right.
So what the people that have sat in the council chambers have done a good job is trying to bring our city back, and we've become largely an entertainment district.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to bring some of those green collar jobs back. So I'm talking about a 20-year vision about where we can go, bring everybody in, and make everybody part of it. And today's Guy Fawkes Day. Do you know who Guy Fawkes is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, right. You've seen V for Vendetta?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my joint. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, they have this. Yeah, they have this. This throughout the movie, of course, that it's important that the idea lives on, right? That there's this perpetual thing, and the idea moves on. So, I'm pushing an idea that we can have a government and economy that works for everybody, because it doesn't now. So. That's true, right? You mentioned homelessness. We've got homeless people here.
That's right.
We've got poverty. 12% poverty is not acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable for any leader that represents this area. State, federal, it should not be acceptable. We should all be working to end that. And we have huge income inequality. And it can't all be fixed from the city council chambers, but I think that we can do a lot. We're going to do a lot. And I think that this affects people who are not in poverty, because I talk about it when I'm on the west side of town too, and they say that's good. Yeah, we need to do something about that. I talk about living wage jobs. They say we need to do that.
Right.
And also talk about style, right? On one hand, I'm saying, hey, we need to protect the businesses that have made an investment in our city. But then I'm saying living wage jobs, and that might scare some business owners, right? Having to pay their workers better. But I think there's a way to do it together, and it's all through dialogue and finding ways to do it. But we want those businesses who want to move in that direction. So I was over at Indiro the other day, and during the pandemic, what he did is he said his employees are not going to make as much money in tips. He's going to raise their base pay from $6 an hour to $10. Right? That's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do.
So that's what we want setting up shop here in Aurora.
That's what exactly. Right. Shout out to Indira on the staff. Good stuff. I want to ask you a little bit more about naval intelligence.
Sure. Wait.
Yeah.
Your job. No. Go ahead. We can talk about intelligence.
Oh, life of a bosun mate? Oh, my God. So... Now, when your entire time was in naval intelligence, what's it like for people who don't know anything about it? What was what was a daily, what's your Monday like?
You're basically a reporter with a security clearance, reading information that other people don't have access to.
Right.
So you're trying to piece together what's going on here, and then you write a report. And back then in the 90s, right, PowerPoint was huge, right? So yes, write a one-page report about what happened, but look, I just want to look at the pretty pictures.
Right.
So that was it. We produced intelligence briefs for military leadership.
Right.
We produced intelligence reports, and I was part of a crisis response team. Very cool experience. Most people, it's a one-year billet, but I got to stay there all 3 years. So by the end of the second year, I had more experience than most people there.
Right.
And, we got called up when the Kenya and Tanzania bombings happened.
Right.
I got to travel a little bit to
1996?
Egypt. 98 was the Kenya and Tanzania bombings. 96 was Kobar Towers.
Right.
Yep. And then I had tore my ACL while I was I would actually medevaced out of the Middle East and in Bethesda Naval Hospital when the USS Cole was hit by a small boat loaded with explosives.
Yep.
So I was literally
and that was in Yemen.
I missed it by 4 or 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
And the cool part was, we had looked at this, what we called the small boat threat. Was a project that I had worked on quite a bit there because we saw people training to do this, and then they did it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. The USS Cole.
Yeah.
What experience or what skills did you learn that you would bring to the table as mayor for the military?
Leadership. I never hesitated to take hold of something and say, I'm going to lead with this.
Right.
And often, I was a petty officer, second class by the time I got out. I would assume a higher leadership role than people had to remind me where I was at, right?
Yeah.
And my political career's been like that too, right? The first thing I did was take on Denny Haster, and everybody's like, hey, do you think you should start at city council or county board? Maybe start on down low.
Second class E5.
Yeah.
Yeah, E5, yeah. The E5 that swung for the trees, boy. Yeah, didn't let anything stop him.
No, I'm not afraid to lead. If I see where I want to go, I go there and try and take people with me.
That's right.
So I think what I found in politics and in the military is you stick your flag in the ground, and people that agree with you are going to rally around you. So,
Sure.
And that's what we're seeing happen in this race. It's been very exciting to see people who I've never met get excited about it and bring their ideas to the table about what we can do. And I think if we do that and bring it all comes to life. And,
it does.
And the idea of a living government is exciting.
I like that.
Hey, let me roll out another idea.
Go ahead, bro.
Not my idea, right? Not my idea. This idea of police oversight is that the citizens have some say in it, right? Okay.
Right.
So this other guy writes me the other day and says, what do you think of allocating our budget a little bit where we actually have a say in the budgeting process? And I said, well, yeah, sure. I mean, the agenda process and the budgeting process. He says, no, how about direct democracy? Like, think about so I'm thinking about how to do this at city level, but think about if on your federal taxes, when you file your taxes, you could bubble in, I want my money to go here.
That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
It would be.
Because we'd probably have a smaller military and a hell of an education system.
Yeah, that
So
would
I
be
think
awesome.
what people care about is making sure their kids have great opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I want to play with that idea a little bit with the alderman funds, maybe put a little more money in each ward that we allow direct democracy, maybe have a community meeting and people can vote on how they're going to spend X number of dollars.
I like that.
But yeah, I like to pilot program things and see how they go. So
Yeah.
that's an idea. Does not belong to me, not taking credit for it, but I think, let's try it. Why not?
Yeah, well, listening to people is key. So
Yeah.
that's good. Shows that you listen to folks. The lady with the binder about the tiny homes, was her name Jeanette?
No.
No? Okay.
Marie Huerta.
Okay. The tiny homes idea is a great project. Great project. I'd like to see that happen.
I'd like a tiny home.
Yeah.
I couldn't have it. I have too much stuff. I'm a carpenter and I've got a whole garage full of tools. I got a 4-car garage. It's filled with tools and used building material. I can't throw anything out. I'm always like, oh, you know what? I could use this somewhere. And it works out.
Plywood.
Too, right?
I'm going to keep that. The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today for the people of Aurora on Thursday?
We're doing great. And I think we can be even better. So I see so much room for improvement, but we have a lot to work with, and I love it here. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to make Aurora exciting new place where people want to move to and be part of what we're doing. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's awesome.
Welcoming city. Can I say it? Welcoming city.
Yeah.
We started where everybody's welcome, and we want them to feel like they're part of this.
Yeah.
So feel part of what's happening.
Welcome, successful, and green, right?
Sir.
All right, nice.
Yeah. And let's throw the word equality in there somewhere.
Right, yeah. Equality, yeah. It's all in there. So, this is a great interview. I really enjoyed speaking to you. Really did. The time is now 8:58 p.m. and or a.m. Excuse me.
That's all right.
Every all day, y'all. Marathon podcasting. Anyway, the second largest city's first daily news podcast was glad to have you on the show today, sir. For all the listeners out there, we thank you guys. We appreciate all of your support and appreciate all of our fans. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And other than that, we are out. Vote for John, right?
Yeah. Oh, if people want to find out more, johnforaurora.com. Yeah, sure. I'm sure my campaign manager told me to mention things that I didn't.
You bombed, dude. Oh my God. And that's it. Peace.
Peace. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt, man.
Great show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, my man.